great that the franchise is honoring Tom Tolbert, Mitch Richmond, and Chris Mullen that way. The iconic trio. Very excited for this.
Of course, every team and coach is different. As you try to navigate this season with this particular group and find what works and what doesn't work, what have you found unique about this group?
Well, we're trying to find our footing for sure, and it's our record, Raymond, 5-7, 5-8. All these losses are possession or two from being wins. So you can't get too carried away with every decision and every lineup combination. What you have to lock in on is what can we do to take care of the easy stuff. We always talk about that every year. Like, how do you take away the 15 or 20 points that are hanging in the balance night in and night out? Well, it starts with transition defense, not fouling. But watching the tape, we're making so many mistakes defensively, and yet we're right there. So we just have to keep working. And it's been tough on the young guys, especially because I haven't played them a whole lot. But we need our vets to be more solid, to take away some of that easy stuff, and that'll allow, some different combinations. And so I just don't think we're sharp enough yet to earn some of these close losses. So we got to turn those into wins.
Draymond made a point last night, kind of talking about the second unit. Previously, when Steph would go out of the game, you guys kind of would, shape shift into something completely different. Don't really do that anymore with Poole leading it, a bunch of young guys. Seems a little bit like a potential second unit identity crisis. What do you just kind of, how do you view that whole situation?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But you think about our second units over the years, it's been filled with vets. It's go down the list: Andre, Sean Livingston, David West, Zaza. So we always sort of built an identity through a group of guys who kind of knew the league, knew how to play together, and so it was a different task. So now we're kind of building a second unit around Jordan. We're trying different vets with him: Wiggs, Clay, Loon, and then mixing in some young guys, whether it's JK right now or Moses or James. And so it's a little less sort of veteran laden, and as a result, it's going to take longer to form that identity. We're talking a lot as a staff about what we can do to help those guys. We can't call a play every possession. I don't like that kind of basketball. I don't think it's effective anyway. But we've got to get more continuity, more early offense flow and rhythm than what we're seeing right now.
This is kind of a follow-up to that, but Steph was talking last night about how they're just making the game hard on themselves. He was talking about more of the meat of the game, where the team was up by 15 and then lost the lead, and then you're kind of playing catch up in the fourth. How much are you guys just talking about those non-Steph minutes, and what, I know it kind of goes back to the identity, but what needs to happen and be done to just kind of stabilize that?
To be fair, the non-Steph minutes have been an issue every year for us. They've never been that smooth. What we've been able to count on in the past is a really good defense to hold down the fort while Steph is out. And I think what's happening right now is our defense isn't good no matter who's out on the floor. And so it's a case where we can start out great like we did last night. We had 39 points in the first quarter, 13-point lead, I think, at the end of the quarter. But if you're giving up easy stuff, if you're not handling the details, then the game just swings right back the other way. So we can talk about the non-Steph minutes, but to me, the biggest issue right now is handling the details, no matter who's on the floor, defensively. And then on offense, the ball's got to move a little bit more. I think it's getting stagnant at times, and we're not getting great shots, and the game's got to connect.
Lineup question. I don't know if you can answer. Is Jordan going to start in Clay's spot?
Yeah, Jordan will start.
Have you noticed a difference that he's played well with Steph. We know that. Is he just like everyone, as you would say, plays better with Steph, but is he a better, more relaxed player usually when he's playing with Steph as opposed to when he's kind of leading the unit on himself?
I think the biggest difference is that when, Steph always has the best defender on him. So when Jordan's out there with Steph, he doesn't have the best guy with him or on him defensively. And then because Steph attracts so much attention, there's just more open looks. There's more open shots. So that's just the easy way to look at it. And then as far as when Jordan is on the floor without Steph, I think he's pressing a little bit. I think he's trying to make too many plays. And, but part of that is we haven't found that continuity and that rhythm where people are trusting that the ball's going to swing and it'll come back to him. And so we've got to do a better job as a staff. I've got to do a better job as a coach of helping that second group and helping Jordan.
You probably don't spend a ton of time on Twitter and listening to talk radio and stuff, but is it gratifying to know how many people are out there willing to tell you how you should be doing your job and what you guys should be doing? A lot of people worrying about you guys.
I haven't been on Twitter in a long time. The only time I hear talk radio is when I go on my weekly shows with Damon and with Tolbert. And so I'm able to listen to the advice of my assistant coaches and our players. And that's good enough.
Steve, I'm just going to read you some tweets then since you don't see them.
Isn't there a late night section? Mean tweets?
Tweets.
Yeah, I'm sure there are plenty of them.
How much, considering your roster is so like old and young, how much of the difficulties you're having was kind of expected, like you knew going in, or is this a surprise to you, not being able to maybe find the right matches in the rotation?
I don't think we knew quite what to expect, starting the season. And frankly, there's just been some bumps in the road, for us here in the early going. And it's affected just the overall rhythm, the ability to kind of find groups that make the most sense, that we can hang our hats on and build and grow. So it's just going to take some time. And I think it's a mistake to sort of issue any, proclamations at this point. We're 13 games in, and we need to really work and put our minds to it and put our hearts in it and see where we are a month from now and 2 months from now. And that part, I think, makes some sense given the roster itself, the lack of longtime veterans like we've had. Given that we've got young guys, it's just going to take longer to put together. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Hey, Steve. Last night, Leandro Barbosa was on the other side. You guys still have Sean Livingston still in the building. When he was here as a player, he was such a stabilizer for the second unit. Is he a resource for somebody like Jordan and the other young guys with the second unit, especially Jordan, just someone who kind of runs the second unit as well? Yeah,
Sean has been great, as part of our front office. A big part of his job is to talk to our younger guys and advise them. And he's done that with Jordan and with others.
Spurs are celebrating their 50th anniversary season this year. Broad question, but where do you put that franchise in what is its place in NBA history?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to go. I love the ABA connection, the George Gervin, Artis Gilmore years. They're kind of an iconic brand. If you're a basketball fan from the 70s, Spurs have always had this cool vibe about them. And then ironically, they built a championship team that was perceived as quite boring. other than maybe Ginobili and Parker. But, the style of play was always with Pop was always very defensive minded with David and Tim. And, but I think just looking at the Spurs in 50 years, they've been a model franchise. They went from kind of a cool brand, coming out of the ABA to a franchise that everybody else in the league was copying, thanks to Pop and RC and the core guys, David and Tim and Manu and Tony. So I know that they've had a huge impact on my life and my coaching and the way I see the game. And, Pop remains one of my best friends and mentors. And so it's very thankful for my time with the team.
Going back to your favorite topic of lineups and stuff, but specifically when you're talking about, it's not just the bench players, it's everyone, those defensive details. Lineups with Draymond at the center statistically have been far less successful to start out the season than in the past. I was just curious what you've been seeing from him in those small ball lineups, areas that even Draymond, the defensive anchor, has to improve on.
Well, yeah, I mean, traditionally he's been amazing in that role, but nothing is as it should be yet for us. So even our small ball lineup that has been successful for us in the past has not been that yet. But again, we're plugging away. We're going to keep trying to get better. We're going to keep encouraging our guys. And I think Draymond has played really, really well overall. He's had a great start to the season. So has Steph. So we've got guys playing well, but we're not connected yet. We haven't found that traction and that momentum that comes when the group is connected on and off the floor. And I think we're still, frankly, trying to find that. Thank you.